Big decisions await for the San Francisco 49ers when you look ahead to the 2025 offseason, and who will the football team from Santa Clara bring back in NFL free agency? We're talking about that on today's 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And before we do all of that and accomplish a lot here on the rundown, hit that subscribe button for the best Niners offseason coverage. This could go down as the biggest, most pivotal, most important offseason in recent memory for this franchise, and I have you covered every step of the way. So join 152,600 people worldwide who have already hit that subscribe button, and be sure to lock us in right now. Let's begin with this because it really does set the foundation for today's show, and we'll take a look at the Niners 2025 free agents. Some players will be back, a lot will leave. Who should San Francisco retain? Who should they let walk? So cornerback Charvarius Ward, linebacker Dre Greenlaw, linebacker De'Vondre Campbell, offensive lineman Jon Feliciano, quarterback Joshua Dobbs, defensive tackle Kevin Givens, quarterback Brandon Allen, linebacker Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, cornerback Isaac Yiadom, left guard Aaron Banks, all free agents. You go to the next page of 8 after the first page of 10. This brings us to 18 total. Defensive tackle Kalia Davis, wide receiver Chris Conley, tight end Eric Saubert, cornerback Rock Ya-Sin, offensive lineman Ben Bartch, linebacker Curtis Robinson, left tackle Jaylon Moore, and safety Talanoa Hufanga. 3 more. So this will bring us to 21 total free agents for this Niners team. Running back Elijah Mitchell, tight end Jake Tonges, he's an exclusive rights free agent, and then Jordan Mason is a restricted free agent, which means another team can offer him a deal, but then the Niners can match that deal, and if they do that, he will be a Niner in 2025. As for the Niners cap space, right now, San Francisco has $50.5 million of cap room. That is number one among all 32 teams in the National Football League. Next year, that number is 65.8. That too is top 10 at number 8. Important to note, cap space can be rolled over year to year, so the 65.8 number could blossom and bloom a little bit, and then it could get even larger if the Niners decide to restructure contracts, cut players, trade players. Of course, there will be some dead money on this number, and that could balance some things out as well. I also think there are 4 veteran cut or trade candidates for the Niners who fit the billing if San Francisco wants to retool this roster a little bit. And that list includes wide receiver Deebo Samuel, having a career worst year in my opinion. He's declined here in 2024, and next year is the final year of his contract. Could you trade him away for a 4th-round pick? That would be ideal because his value is not the same as compared to even going into this past season. Javon Hargrave, the Niners restructured his deal, so pretty much he can be a post-June 1 designation, and that allows them to absorb that cap number a little bit more. Kyle Juszczyk is on this list. I like him as a player. He's the best fullback in football. He's going to go down as one of the best fullbacks of all time. I just don't think that you need to pay big-time dollars to a fullback in today's NFL. You can bring one in to serve a very similar purpose for pennies on the dollar compared to what Juszczyk is making, and the Niners going to be a little bit tight on the cap, especially after that Brock Purdy contract extension if they give that to him. And then George Odom, a special teams ace on a special teams unit that has underperformed over the last few years. And as far as players who I really think the Niners need to bring back, and big decisions loom pertaining to these 2 players to my right. That's Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. These are 2 players over the last month I've been thinking, if I were the general manager, I think I need to re-sign number 57 and number 29. And in the first half of that game against the Los Angeles Rams, yes, the rain was coming down. That was a Rams team that previous Sunday had dropped 44 points. And a couple of days later at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, they couldn't do anything. They didn't pick up a first down until the 5th or 6th drive of the game. Talanoa Hufanga nearly had that interception of Matthew Stafford. If he didn't have that club on his hand, probably would have picked that ball off. And Dre Greenlaw had his fingerprints all over the game. he was everywhere. And in that first half, against an offense that has been clicking and humming, we saw what this Niners defense can get back to. And Hufanga and Greenlaw are very similar players. They're both very instinctual. They're both fearless. They are always around the football. They play with physicality, speed, confidence, and swagger. And they are two of the heartbeats, two of the engines of this Niners defense. And I think an important number to look at this year is turnover plus minus. You always want to be in the plus. Why? Winning teams are in the plus margin, but when you lose a turnover battle in the NFL, you lose games about 80% of the time. And this year, the Niners, for the entire season, are -4 in turnover plus minus. That's 21st in the NFL. The Bills, for instance, are +18, which is first in the NFL. And in 2023, the Niners were 14 turnovers different in the plus minus last year when they made it to the Super Bowl as compared to this year when they're not going to make the playoffs. They were at +10, which was tied for 5th best in the NFL. And what do Greenlaw and Hufanga do? They generate manufactured turnovers, and with the way that they play, they pressure the opposing offense. The opposing offense feels that, and then they're more prone to turning the football over. And Dre Greenlaw, in that first half against the Rams, did this according to Pro Football Focus. Had an overall PFF grade of 87.6. Absolutely elite. A run defense grade of 81.8. That too, elite per the numbers. And a coverage grade so good at 74.2. He was making plays against the run. He was making plays against the pass. Range. He was nasty. When he would make a play, he'd go face-to-face with Fred Warner, just two dogs going after it, trying to take the soul of the opposition. And in 30 minutes of play, on 30 snaps, he had 8 tackles. As for Talanoa Hufanga this year, overall PFF grade of 62.6. That's bordering on the green. It's not bad, but a run defense grade of 78.8. What have the Niners struggled to do the last couple of years? Stop the run. Hufanga is a great run stuffer. A coverage grade, 53.8. I think is a little bit better than what the numbers indicate. That's never his strength. But he makes up for that with his knack for making big plays, manufacturing, generating turnovers, and being all around the football. And that's only coming on 88 coverage snaps. He was a first-team All-Pro back in 2022 for a reason, but he hasn't played a lot the last 2 years. And so, because of Hufanga's injury history, because of Greenlaw's injury history, can the Niners bring them back on short-term deals? That would be ideal. And here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say on Wednesday, December 18th, about Greenlaw and Hufanga. He wants these two players to come back. He said Greenlaw and Hufanga are two of the better players I've been around, and two of the better players on our team, and two of the main reasons we've had the success here that we've had. So hopefully we can do everything we can to keep them here because they are as much examples of Niners as anyone I can think of. That's pretty telling from the head coach. This is also pretty telling from Dre Greenlaw's teammates. He comes back for 1 half before going out. And by the way, he's expected to play against Miami. And here's what his teammates say about him. Now, of course, these teammates have played with him throughout his career so far. But George Kittle on Greenlaw, he's an absolute unicorn of a football player. Some of the highest praise that you can get from a potential Hall of Fame tight end. Nick Bosa, he's my favorite teammate to ever play with. He's an absolute dog, and he was showing it. And then his running mate, Fred Warner, a freak of nature. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and George Kittle are potential future Hall of Famers. They are some of the best players on this Niners team. They're captains. And they're saying all of that about Dre Greenlaw, that's telling a story. That is significant, and they are building blocks for your football team. So today's poll question is this. Do you want to see Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw back? Let your voices be heard down in the comment section. Treat it like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line. It's pretty much that, but the YouTube version. B for back, W for walk. Coming up next, we're going to play Stay or Go on some marquee free agents on this Niners team. I showed you the list of 21 players. We'll go through some of the more well-known commodities on that list coming up here just around the corner. Before we do that, holiday season is coming up. Christmas, less than a week. Hanukkah starts on Christmas Day. If you're looking for a great gift to buy somebody, how about tickets to a Niners game, a different sporting event, or a concert, comedy show, or theater event? Thanks to Game Time Picks, they make curation so easy. Instead of having to go through thousands of tickets, they give you the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. They have flash deals. They have zone deals. Brock Purdy would carve that up. And you can access tickets from your phone. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. What's also cool, if you can't end up going, you can easily resell tickets on your phone as well. There's the Game Time lowest price guaranteed, where if you find a lower price elsewhere, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. That link is dangling in the show notes, and it's attached to the pinned comment of today's Niners Report. So Charvarius Ward is one of the marquee free agents for this Niners team moving forward, and last year he was a second-team All-Pro. Stay or go for him? I'm going to say go. Not because I don't like the player. I understand this year he hasn't played all that well. That's in large part to him dealing with an awful family tragedy. He even admitted it's been the most difficult stretch of his life as he lost his 1-year-old daughter tragically. But if we're just talking from a financial standpoint, Niners roster getting a little bit older. It's getting a little bit more expensive. And look at what the Niners' actions showed us. They drafted Renardo Green in the second round. He is playing really well at outside corner and has had a really solid rookie year. He looks to be a player. What did the Niners also do? They signed Deommodore Lenoir to a 4-year, $88 million contract extension. So they paid Lenoir. I don't think they're going to pay Charvarius Ward, who, by the way, is 28 years old. And he's starting to get a little bit older, and I think the Niners are going to draft another corner. They're going to try to develop a Darrell Luter type, sign a few cheap corners in free agency, and that's the route that they'll go. So Charvarius Mooney Ward, he has played awesome for San Francisco. He has exceeded his contract with the Niners, but because they paid Deommodore Lenoir to me, that signaled the end of Ward's tenure with the Niners. Very good player, and here's the thing. He's going to get $15+ million from another team. Niners will not pay that. As for Aaron Banks, I think that he should go. Aaron Banks, in a contract year, has not been good enough. He has not been consistent enough. He has been way too up and down. And against some really solid defensive linemen along the interior, he just isn't able to hold up. And he's had some good moments throughout his Niners career, but this year I've been very disappointed by him. And I think that you can draft a left guard, just like the Niners did with right guard Dominic Pooney, 3rd round, who can be a plug-and-play starter, and you can get a really quality player for cheaper than what Banks will get paid in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, even 7th round, because there are always really solid interior offensive linemen who you can find in that range. Or could the Niners save some coin and go a cheap route and bring back Ben Bartch, who against Green Bay and against Buffalo, I thought he played really good football. He really impressed me on tape. Check that. It was against Buffalo, and then the following week, he got injured against Chicago. Either way, Ben Bartch is a player who played very well against the likes of Gabe Davis, who's a really good defensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills, held up very well. And he has guard and center flexibility, some good movement, some good athleticism, does have some experience, and he's not going to cost all that much money. So for Ben Bartch, from a football and financial standpoint, I say stay. Jaylon Moore, stay, but I'm not sure the Niners are going to be able to retain him because he's played so well in the place of Trent Williams, where because teams across the NFL are so starved for left tackles, either starting or swing tackles as backups, he might get paid. Chase, what are you talking about? He hasn't been good since being drafted out of Western Michigan in the 5th round in 2021. This year he's been awesome. He's really developed under the watchful eye of Trent Williams. And this year, 136 pass blocking snaps. He's given up 8 pressures. He's given up no sacks, tied for first among tackles at his position. And with teams desperate for some offensive tackle help, he could get a bag. As for Elijah Mitchell, popular name among Niner fans, had a really solid rookie year, helping the Niners overcome that 3-5 start in 2021. He played good ball. Looked as though he was going to be a player. Cannot stay healthy. And you have an opportunity to bring back Jordan Mason, who we'll talk about next. You have Isaac Yiadom. Christian McCaffrey's under contract. Maybe you draft another back who's more durable than this. Can't make the club from the tub. And Elijah Mitchell's been in the tub every single year he's been in the NFL. And then Jordan Mason, stay or go. So he is going to be a restricted free agent. There is a team out there who could overpay for Jordan Mason. If they need a running back, they're looking at him as the next coming of Marshawn Lynch. He has that brute force and physicality to his game. He will run through you and over you and not look back as he takes it to the crib. Very fun player to watch. And if the Niners believe that Christian McCaffrey can come back off the knee injury on top of the bilateral Achilles tendonitis, if a team offers Jordan Mason, let's say $7 to $10 million, you have Yiadom, you have Christian McCaffrey, you draft another running back. Do you afford to bring a player like that back if another team offers him a lot? Now, the Niners tried to do this past offseason with Brock Wright, the backup tight end for the Detroit Lions, who is the number 2 behind Sam Laporta. The Lions matched that deal. And because they matched it, they brought him back. The Niners lost out on that player. That's how it works out. But I like Jordan Mason. I think that he should get some more run. He should be more a part of this rotation. The Niners, I've been beating this drum, have to manage the workload for Christian McCaffrey. So my ruling on Jordan Mason, stay. Big offseason ahead. I can't wait for it. And I was talking with some people in the office. I started covering this team in 2021, NFC title game. 2022, NFC title game. 2023, Super Bowl. It's weird that the Niners are not going to make the playoffs this year, and there's not going to be a deep playoff run. I miss that. I'm fiending for some of those crazy watch parties and to cover a playoff run. I'm also really excited to break down the decisions, make some predictions, and talk about how this team retools, if it rebuilds, how it resets this upcoming offseason. So if you're with me, type me, because it's a massive offseason coming up.